Srimati Syamarani Didi is that planet. I mean, I really don't need to infuse Syamarani, but out of etiquette and love and affection, I must do so. She met Srila Prabhupada in 1966 and has been extraordinary sevak to him. But in addition to that, we all know that she took, I think Sudevi and Kishori was talking about, well, I can't remember, I think it was Sudevi actually was saying, yes, Sudevi. To get, we have to give up. We always have to pay some price to get something. And Syamarani, she was very well known within ISKCON, very well known amongst Srila Prabhupada's disciples, and yet she was willing to give up her reputation there in order to go to Srila Gurudev. That was a huge step. Many very high devotees didn't take that step. She did. And just in the same way she served Srila Gurudev, Srila Prabhupada, with all her heart and body and mind and soul, she's done the same and still does for Srila Gurudev. And she's an inspiration to me. She's an inspiration to everyone, I'm sure. And I've always felt an incredible encouragement from her. And yet at the same time, while her seva is a mountain to my very small seva, I always feel that she comes to me like my friend. And I'm very humbled by that and very inspired by that. So thank you for agreeing to speak, Syamarani. You're our last speaker, and I'm sure everybody's very excited to hear your offering and your glorification of our gurus. Hare Krishna. Dandavats.
Agyanam timirandasya gyananjana salakaya chaksuranmilitam yena tasmai Sri Gurave Namah. Panchakalpatarubhyascha kripasindhuvyeva cha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. That was quite a larger than life introduction. So since Vasanti was speaking about money in relation to Gurudev and in relation to her, I also want to begin by telling one Vasanti money related pastime of Srila Gurudev. When he was in Delhi in 2010, performing his Sikh Leela, at that time the Olympics were going on in Delhi, Commonwealth Games. And Vasanti took out a party of mostly ladies. Every night they went out in the evening, came back in the wee hours of the morning, and chanting in the trains and giving out books when the people would come out of the Commonwealth Games at the end. Lots and lots of books, lots and lots of small donations. And at the end of it, she had it in a burlap bag. And Brajanath Prabhu let her go in and see Srila Gurudev. And by that time, he was in his half external, half internal consciousness. Many of you have seen him in that state, kind of like staring into Goloka Vrindavan when you're sitting right there, but he's not looking at you, but he sees you because he sees the soul. So she handed him the money, told him what happened, and he took the bag and he took his hand and went 3 times into the bag to show that he was blessing all the living entities who gave donations and took books, or took books and didn't give donations, or gave donations and didn't take books. So he was blessing all those beings, just like he was blessing all the living entities in various bodies when he went to, what's that? Niagara Falls. That Vasanti and I saw. And speaking of looking at you when it doesn't look like he's looking at you, that just reminded me of a story that one devotee in Cessnock told me. He and his wife had heard the bad propaganda when they were in ISKCON that don't go to see Narayan Maharaj because this, that, and the other thing. So they thought, well, we want to see for ourselves. His name is Jugal Kishore Prabhu. And so he and his wife came, and his wife was immediately attracted to Srila Gurudev, but he was still hesitant because of all the things that he heard. So Gurudev was speaking and giving a lot of, eye contact and laughing with his wife, but nothing to him, it seemed. So he was getting more and more frustrated because every time he went to Gurudev's class or darshan, he was becoming more and more attracted, but Gurudev kept giving his external attention to his wife and everybody else but him. By the end of it, it was on the last day, and Gurudev was about to leave, and he was so frustrated, he was about to scream that he wanted Gurudev's attention, because at that time he felt himself surrendered. So Gurudev turned to him at that point when he was so frustrated, and he said, "I'm working on you." So yeah, it's hard to know what Gurudev is doing. Just one other pastime that I heard yesterday from Sundar Gopal Prabhu from Jaipur. What? He's making a book in Hindi of devotees' memories and from the walks books. So Dviji Krishna Prabhu, one of Gurudev's personal servants, told him that early one morning, Gurudev told him, "Somebody's calling me to Holy Gate. Let's go." So Dviji Krishna said, "Yeah, but they didn't call me, and they didn't call Naveen Krishna. So that means we can't go," because Gurudev didn't even have a phone. So he said Gurudev was very grave and also sounded like he was in a hurry. He said, "No, someone's calling me directly," even though he didn't have a phone. So he said, "Come immediately, Holy Gate with me." So Dviji Krishna went with him, and they went to somebody's house, a man named Chailal, who was a disciple of Gurudev and had a vegetable store. And that man was just about to leave his body. And Gurudev gave him 1 minute Hari Katha and made him fearless. He said, "Don't worry, nothing's going to happen. Just chant Hare Krishna. Just remember Krishna." And Gurudev told Viju Krishna Prabhu to chant and the whole family to chant. And Gurudev was chanting. And then a moment later, he left his body right in front of Gurudev. So that was such a touching story, which showed that he's, as he says, "I'm closer to the air that you breathe." And I just want to take 1 minute to do a commercial. That is, there's just as we're all making our offerings now, there's also an online Vyasa Puja website, and the Centennial team is encouraging everybody to send in an offering, either in any language, by writing and or by video, to make an offering, and that will not only touch everybody, as all of your pastimes are touching everybody here on the Zoom, but touch everybody all around the world, not only for the centennial year, for years to come. So you can send in your offering to srilagurudev.com. Very simple. So I want to share a pastime. When I first met Srila Gurudev, which was in April, May of 1992. And I was very frustrated that for the last 26 years that I've been in ISKCON, I'd never had any taste in chanting the holy name. And although I'd asked many God brothers and God sisters, and they quoted many verses from Shastra about the significance of the holy name, still it didn't do anything. So on one of my first meetings, if not the first meeting, I asked Gurudev, how I've been chanting for 26 years, and I don't have any taste. What do I do? So he sat up very straight and said simply, you have to associate with someone who has taste. So a light bulb went off for me. Oh, is that you? And then I told him that, I have intellectual understanding of the philosophy, and I give classes all over the world, but I have no actual emotional experience of the philosophy. So what do I do? So I thought he was going to say intellectual understanding is not all, but instead intellectual understanding is no understanding. And he was trying to help me to get more taste in the holy name, number one, and more emotion into my appreciation of Krishna consciousness. So he started, and that was the beginning, but he never stopped, of telling me and the other devotees who were in the room, and then later on telling everybody on the world tour, telling everybody in his various translations and commentaries and lecture books what to think about while we chant. So he said to me, there is a prayer by Prabodhananda Saraswati Thakur, Yashya Kadapi Vasananchila Kelanota Danyati Danya Pavanena Kritartamani Covid Yogendra Durga Magati Madhusudanopi Tasyana Mosta Vishabhanu Bhavodhati. And he actually wanted us like soon to learn all these verses and to remember the verses while we chant, along with remembering the English translation, along with chanting Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. So then he translated that verse that when Radharani was once in Man, she didn't want to talk to Krishna. He was so depressed that he went to the other side of Radhakund, and he was just lamenting. So the air, because everybody's a person, the air wanted to do some service. So the air went under Radharani's anchal, her veil, and fragrance, and then went across to the side of Radhakund, to where Krishna was, and went under his nostrils. And because she, not only is he absolute, but she's absolute. So she's non-different. She's present in her fragrance. So Krishna was amazed that, oh, now I've attained Radharani and my life has become successful. So the prayer said, even the topmost yogis and demigods can't attain you, but you think your life is successful by inhaling the fragrance of Srimati Radhika. So I'm offering obeisances to that Srimati Radhika. So Gurudev was telling me and the others in the room to remember verses like this. And then he told another one, Purna Pulindurgaya. That means that Radharani is saying in the Venu Geet that I want to become a Pulinda girl because their parents never bothered them. And even if their parents bothered them, they wouldn't even care. They would come anyway to be with Krishna. So in the morning, they go to, they're carrying wood because they're the labor class in Goloka Vrindavan. And they see on the grass, on the dew of the grass, Krishna's kumkum powder from his feet. So the dust of his feet mixed with the kumkum powder from the gopis' breasts, and that went on the grass. And the Pulinda girls, who were full of calm, they took that, now it was a paste from the dew, and they put it all over their face, and they felt completely satisfied. So even though Radharani is saying this verse, she doesn't know that the kumkum actually came from her. So she wants to be the Pulinda girl. So Gurudev was encouraging us to remember verses like that. So then I figured, well, he's talking about the air, he's talking about the grass. So let me ask a question about the dust, because I'd heard from Prabhupada that just as Paramatma is in every atom of this world, so Balaram is in every atom of the spiritual world and every dust particle. So I said, so is the dust then, so the air, you said, Gurudev, is also a pure devotee. So is the dust, what about the dust? Is that also pure devotee? So Gurudev said, no need of being a pure devotee. The dust is ras, meaning it's the ras that Krishna tastes in his love of Radharani and the gopis, and it's the love that they taste. And another time I asked him, since he was so much into remembering prayers while chanting. So I said, what about remembering like a prayer to not directly to Radha and Krishna, but to Govardhan, although Govardhan, Gurudev said, is a manifestation of Radharani's heart. Still, he's a separate personality. So I said, what about remembering the prayer to Giriraj while chanting? Pramada Madana Leela Kandare Kandare Te Rokshayatam Navajanor Dandamasme Namandam Itikila Kalanarta Lagnakastad Dayorme Nijanikati Nivasam De Govardhantam. Oh Govardhan, in your caves and kunjas, Radha and Krishna are personally performing their love-filled pastimes. So even though and you're experiencing ecstasy from that. So even though I'm fallen and wretched, still I'm begging you, please give me a place at your lotus feet. So I asked Gurudev, can I remember that while I'm chanting? And Gurudev said, you can remember anybody who can help you. Meaning, the meaning I took was that everybody who's in the holy name, because what is it? Amara Harinam Amiyabilas. All the pastimes are in the holy name, or the holy name is all the pastimes. So like everybody who's in the pastimes, Jamuna, Radhakund, Purnamasi, any of them, he said, anyone who can help you, you can remember them while chanting. One time I told him, I feel so offensive since we're also celebrating, you mentioned the 125th anniversary of Srila Prabhupada. So I told Gurudev once that I feel very offensive whenever I think of Srila Prabhupada. Like there's a big wall, oh, Srila Prabhupada. And, if we didn't say Srila when we said Prabhupada, our temple managers would always yell at us. So, we got that idea of awe and reverence, and he's so high and I'm so low. Plus, I committed so many offenses, innumerable. I said, so I just feel so far away from him and so much fear whenever I remember him because of my offenses. So Gurudev said, don't fear. Don't think like that. Always remember him as your pran priya saki. And then he told those verses that are in the, in our Charana section, like, what's that? Radha Sama Kusang Saktim Saki Sama Nivasanim Tam Satatam Bange Guru Rupam Param Saki. I worship Sri Guru, who's a Param Saki, who's always in the association of Radharani and her associates. So I, bow down and offer my obeisances to him. So I asked him at that time, all right, so how could I see? I got what he said. I said, but how can I see Prabhupada, the word Prabhupada, in a more intimate way, so it's not such a big wall? So he said, Prabhu is Krishna. But Prabhu has two sides. One side is Krishna, but there's a bigger side to Prabhu, and that bigger side is Radha. So Prabhupada means one who is at the lotus feet of the bigger side of Prabhu. That is Prabhupada. So you can think in that way as your Pranpriya Saki, and think that he is a very beautiful Braj Gopi, 12 or 12 and a half, with very decorated braid and Gopi Vesh. So that was so helpful to me. very transformational. And usually he never called for me, although he called for so many people, like we just heard the beautiful pastimes from Mukunda Prabhu, where Gurudev would call him on so many occasions. But on one rare occasion, he called me to Mathura because I was in the middle of the Seva Kunj painting. And usually, I mean, I would go there to Mathura or Vrindavan at Rup Sanatana Gaudiya Math or Keshaji Gaudiya Math, wherever he happened to be. And from where I was at, where was I? Krishna Balaram Mandir, sneaking off to see Gurudev. So I would go there every couple of days to show him the painting, and he would give so much advice and redirection, correction, additions, details. But once he called me when the painting was like 4 months into the painting, the whole painting took 5 months. And he said, where there is room not to make it heebie-jeebie, means congested. It doesn't mean worried or anxiety like other heebie-jeebies means, but his heebie-jeebie was congested. So not to make it heebie-jeebie, but wherever there's comfortable room, put shadows, the manjaris, as many as you can fit, looking in. And they're waiting time when they know, they don't have to be told, okay, now it's time for you to come in. But by the conversation of Radha and Krishna, they know exactly when their time is to come in. So not only they are looking in, waiting for that moment, like for example, when Radharani says to Krishna, okay, you messed up all my decorations and ornaments, so now redecorate me, otherwise my Sakis will all joke with me if I'm not properly decorated. So at that point, and then Krishna, that's where he actually wanted the opportunity to decorate her, touching her divine body. So then the manjaris know that, yep, this is the time to come in with tambul and musk and the peacock feather that Krishna, end of the peacock feather that Krishna would use in putting on the unguents. So that's half of what they would be doing when looking in, waiting. And the other half is they're experiencing, as you know, whatever Radharani's experiencing, they would be experiencing as well. So then I asked Gurudev, can the devotees know who these manjaris are? So Gurudev said, they will know by their bhajan. So we will not tell who these manjaris are. And another very significant, everything about Gurudev is a significant change in everybody's life. But one extra significant thing to me, it was when I heard him tell us on several occasions, like what to think about first thing in the morning, even before you get out of bed, even before your feet touch the floor. And that is, you know how we do our Jayadwani prayers. So Gurudev like tripled or quadrupled that. As many personalities as we say in our Jayadwani prayers, he quadrupled that. And coming to Vyasdev, all the way to Vyasdev and Brahma in the disciplic succession, Narada, Vyas, Brahma, and then all the personalities in not only the places in Braj, but like Kunj, Radhakund, banks of the Jamuna, Sanket Kunj, Talvan, Apsara Kund, but all the personalities, Yashoda Maya ki jai, Kirtika Maya ki jai, Nanda Baba ki jai, and then to all the coward boys, Daubai ki jai, Subal ki jai, all the coward boys and all the gopis and all the manjaris, and then go to Puri, places in Puri and all the personalities, Bhagavatacharya, Paramananda Puri, and I'll then go to Navadvip and the places in Navadvip and the personalities of Navadvip, Sachimaya, Ki Jai. And what does Jai mean? He also explained. Jai doesn't only mean hail, victory, you stay where you are and you be victorious. But one thing that really changed something in my Jayadwani prayers is that Jai means whenever there's Jai, there's also Har Jai. Whenever there's victory, there's also defeat. So we're praying that please be victorious and make defeated my senses, my mind, my intelligence, my lust, anger, greed, pride, illusion, and envy. Like when one country takes over another country and they put their flagpole there. And so please conquer over this enemy and make my enemies yours. And he said, then you can put your feet on the floor. So I can't go that far, but it's so helpful and I at the best that I can. But what can I say about the glory of Sri Guru? I have, looks like 4 minutes left. What can I say about the glory of Sri Guru? Being a conditioned soul, our acharyas who are realized souls, they can and have glorified. Like Gurudev said, only a transcendental personality can glorify another transcendental personality. Even Shesh, Anant, can't find the end of the glories of a great personality, for example, like Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. So we learn from our acharyas that who is Guru? He bestows transcendental knowledge. Like if we get realization of our relationship with Krishna, that's given by Guru. He's the friend of the fallen, no matter how fallen I am, and nobody else likes me. I know that he's going to be my friend, my real friend. And he gives the spiritual bliss that exists in his own heart. And he's always teaching about the love of Sri Radha. He's an exalted son. And on the side of deliverance, what is he? We're being gobbled up, we're being devoured by time and material existence. The fire of material existence, we're being burnt up. So therefore we pray to him because he has the power to do it. Please deliver me, O worshipful Guru. You are the shelter of the in the material world. I'm being burnt by the fire of material existence and devoured by time. Thus I've come to take shelter of you. And we also learn from Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur that Sri Rupa Goswami comes in the form of Sri Guru and gives us instructions. We understand from Srila Narottam Das Thakur that Sri Guru is the storehouse of sadhana bhakti, bhav bhakti, and prema bhakti. He's the one who carries us from one to the other to the other. And, we hear how Swarup Shakti, when Swarup Shakti descends at the time of bhav bhakti, at that time we can see our own spiritual form, the form of Krishna, and internally engage in the services. But where does that Swarup Shakti come? It comes gradually first, and then it comes like a waterfall at Bhava Bhakti. But it comes gradually in the form of the Harikatha of Sri Guru. So powerful he is. And Srila Narottam Das Thakur prays to Sri Guru that, Ebe Yash Kushuk Tribhuvana, your glories of the three worlds. Srila Gurudev commented on that nobody can deliver me, I'm so fallen, but if you deliver me, you have that power, then everyone will think you're so glorious. So many glorifications of Srila. As Vasanti said, as Vasanti quoted the bee flying over the flowers, so much nectar and no time to drink. So my time is up. My half hour is over. So thank you very much. And Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol, Pancha Kopatru Vyashtra Kabisana Bhavacha, Patitanam Pavane Bhyo Vaishnave Bhyo Namo Namaha.
Wow, Hare Krishna, thank you for Syamarani. That was incredibly densely packed nectar. I'm going to, for sure, in the recording, I want to listen to that again because there's so much to unpack from what you shared. Particularly, I want to collect together a whole range of, you mentioned about the prayers, how Gurudev advised us to use prayers to increase our taste for bhajan. It'd be beautiful to put together a some prayers for my bhajan. It's very, very inspiring.
Prabhu, I can send you, actually you have my memoir, ASL, right?
Yeah.
So in one of those chapters about Gurudev, I have a transcription of some of those prayers that he gave for when you first wake up. So I'll send you.
Oh, great.
Number.
Thank you. Beautiful. And also what I picked up from, overall from what you shared was how the importance of Shiksha Guru in nourishing Diksha Guru, the relationship in your heart between Srila Prabhupada and Srila Gurudev, although you weren't so explicit about that, at points you mentioned, I could see it running through everything you were saying. So thank you. Oh, and also the other thing, and Gurudev was amazing like this, how he said, don't fear Srila Prabhupada. This is an amazing quality of Srila Gurudev, is that although I came to Srila Gurudev in 96 from nowhere, knew absolutely nothing, hardly even knew the Maha Mantra, somehow he was telling me, never fear me. I'm controlled through love, don't fear me, even though I knew, actually, if I was sane, I probably would fear him. But no, he always had this incredible ability to draw us nearer and nearer until, as you said, until we could see that he was closer to us than the air that we breathe. So thank you so much.